Bring.
It's Craig. He's back.
Craig is back.
Word.
It has been some
Craig is in
time
the
since we have
house.
recorded. Boys, how's it been since the last time we recorded? As if I haven't talked to you since the last time.
Who are you people?
I don't even know who you are.
We passed 1 year of doing this podcast about a month ago.
So we took a break.
So we took a break. Yeah, basically is what happened.
Time.
I got an email that said, "You've been posting this podcast for a year." And I was like, wow.
What?
Let's not record for 4 weeks. Anywho, today we're going to talk about ideas to make combat more interesting. What makes combat interesting? You guys got any ideas? I think I've got a couple, but I mean, I thought about this for a few days, and I was like, what makes combat interesting? The story around the combat is what makes combat interesting.
I was like,
I'm waiting to see what he has to say.
Yeah. I learned this. I've relearned this fact when we're doing really long, monotonous combat. I think combat is fun based on the combat you had previously. So it's a structure. It's like you want a couple of like not that big a deal pinner fights so that you can feel like a freaking G, and then you want to fight a guy who's a little bit stronger so that it feels like you're overcoming something. You want to feel like you're progressing in some way, even in the fight. And the enemies need to feel dynamic and move around and try to like act like they want to win and not like, I'll just stand here and hit this guy forever. It doesn't matter that 5 of his friends are whacking me in the back too. And no point in moving.
Yeah, so that's kind of what I want to talk about. Okay, so combat. What do you think makes combat feel like a slog?
Combat goes very quickly from being fun and entertaining to extremely grindy when every turn nothing on the battlefield's really moving and you just hear your name. Oh, my turn. And then you go, all right, hit that guy that I'm still hitting in front of me. When enemies like normal small enemies live way too long, that's annoying. And then even if it's a boss, if he just stands in one square and you're just punching each other back and forth like maniacs for like a full minute until someone goes down, that's a little boring too.
So, okay, what do you think about fight or encounter mechanics? Like almost similar to like a WoW raid boss thing. Well, how do you feel about players having to figure something out on the fly in the middle of a fight?
I think that would be pretty cool.
I think that would be cool. I think that is on a razor's edge. And
you have to make it obvious.
Yeah, I'll tell you why. Because in World of Warcraft, it's awesome to have mechanics like that. Because if you die, you just do it again.
Yeah.
But in D&D, if nobody realizes that you got to there's a book on a pedestal behind him, and until you turn it to page 57 and read the words out loud, his name, so that he may become weak to attacks, nobody's going to figure that out. They're all going to be going, hit it harder.
Why isn't it dying?
Why isn't it dying? Because no one cares about the pedestal at the back of the room when, some giant demons.
That's where you got to have like lore to come into play to help your players understand that. Like,
yeah,
you are looking for the blah 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 that when red weakens the blah blah blah. So like going into this thing, you're like, keep an eye out for this.
I also think that you need to prime your players with smaller fights to get them used to having to figure something out. Because if you drop them into a big boss fight and they haven't done this the whole campaign, and you're deep in this, boy, and then everyone dies because they can't figure out your puzzle, that would be rough.
Yeah.
Now, if you're talking, he slams on the ground and a fire wave goes pew out from around him, and everyone has to jump over it like Mario Party. That's cool too, but like,
that would be weird. Do you use your action to jump? Sure. Okay, you don't take any damage.
You can choose to take a chance or take the damage or use your action to dodge it. Mechanics like that could be kind of neat, I guess. But I think that puzzle mechanics, you gotta lean them into that a little easy.
Yeah. So one of the things that I've sort of come around to figuring out is kind of what you said at the top, that not all combat has to be balanced to be close.
Yes.
There can be easy ones in between.
Yeah. Like Slight Flourish has like a thing where it's like a 2 ups and a down, where you have 2 easy fights and then like a down. I might be misquoting that because I forgot to watch that video and it's like an hour and a half long. But I'm pretty sure that's what he talks about. It makes the fights more rewarding.
So what do you enjoy about combat being martial as opposed to a spellcaster?
Description. That's the cool part about martial. And I think a way to enhance combat is through that. Your players describing what they're doing, especially even like same for magic casters. Describe how you're casting the spell. Describe how you're hitting the enemy. But to get players to do that, I think rewarding players with okay, you do whatever you do, and when you slice through, you do an extra 2 points of damage.
I could see that.
You give him a disadvantage on an ability check. You give him something. It can be meaningless stuff that might not come into play, but at least you're like, oh, you did great. You get something for that. And I think that could really enhance, because that's the cool part whenever like you're explaining how everything's working, what your character's doing, at least for me in the combats, that really takes it up another notch is when people are like, okay, I'm going to slide in and take his knee out and then slam him down. I'm like, that was awesome. Because I can picture it in my head.
So, okay. So what is fun for a caster as opposed to martial then?
I'm going to have a different answer than Joe. I'm assuming your answer is about what you just said, right?
Yeah, it's just a different way to describe, right?
Yeah.
Going, I'm doing this, and that's where it's honestly, it's like it's cool on both sides, because describing the spell, like even like Misty Step, you can describe that in so many different ways, how your individual character uses it. And you add that into it, and you throw in a little bit of flair with it every time during situations. Like you see a blade coming in, and you dodge to the side and Misty Step away or whatever.
That kind of thing. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Description can really, I think, is a really useful tool, especially if you're in a situation where it's like we are just standing around beating one guy. It's my turn. I'm hitting. Instead of going, I'm hitting, do something to make it more interesting for everyone.
Yeah, Liam is very good at that.
Yeah.
What do you think, Eric? What's good about being martial? What's good about being a caster?
I'll come at it from
fun in combat for those two things.
I'll come at it from a mechanical perspective, since Joe covered the other side. From a mechanical perspective, I personally find martial to be less fun than casters from a mechanical side. There's less decisions to be made in combat. That's why they're so good for beginners a lot of the time. Give them something that swings a sword, because all they're going to do is swing a sword for 20 levels. Every now and then they'll attach something to it. But for the most part, in the beginning levels, I hit them with sword. Mm-hmm. I hit them with club. I hit them with axe.
I hit them with fist.
I hit them with fist. Yes, I pummel them with my fist. Casters are extremely fun to play because there's so much to it. It's not just resource management, but it's like what spell can I cast? How can I cast it in this situation? Which is the best one to cast in this situation? Do I need to use this spell slot or not use this spell slot? Am I gonna get this back or not get this back? And you just have more opportunities to do amazing stuff because, I mean, like, take the big fight from the end of our Michael's last campaign. If I was a martial class, I wouldn't have flown up to that guy and banished him to another realm. He was in the sky, you know.
So for me, the fun part about casters is the utility. It's not necessarily even the damage. It's
anything.
I hope something happens that makes it to where me casting this weird spell is good.
Your support player is showing.
Yeah, well, it's true.
Yeah.
That's fun for me. Like, wouldn't it be cool if the floor fell out from under us and I was the one to be able to save us with a feather fall?
Yeah. I get that. And that falls into what I was just saying. Casters just have more options to do stuff. Because if you're a monk and the floor falls out from beneath you, you're gonna live. But are the rest of your friends gonna live? You're gonna be dancing down, falling real slow, or like running down the wall or something, and your friends are just gonna be falling. You're gonna be like, "I'm sorry, there's nothing I can do to save you," and then they're just gonna go,
"Grab my hand,
grab my hand."
And then for martial classes, I think I've only played the rogue so far, but the fun part for me is like just the damage output.
The damage output.
Yeah, for rogue,
and how easy
specifically, how big a number can I get?
And how easy it is with martial classes to do quite a bit of damage. But they both do a lot of damage. It's just martial classes do a lot more. No, actually, probably not. But single target damage seems to be better overall in martial classes.
Yeah,
your casters can wipe a bunch of stuff out. I think overall, a martial classes have higher DPR on average. It depends on the situation, but I mean, if you're fighting 20 guys, a fireball is going to be the tits, and there's nothing better than that. But if you're fighting one big dude, being able to
still going to be okay.
It's going to be okay, but it's not going to be as good as if you had 15 little dudes who only had 30 health, right?
As far as sort of encounter balancing and design, do you think it's more fun to fight like one big thing or like a dozen little things?
I think that's totally dependent on what's been happening. If you've been getting beat down, a fight with a bunch of dudes that you can just wipe out. So great. Uplifting. Yeah, it feels great. You're like, you've been getting beat down by big enemies over and over, and then you just get like a crew of normal soldiers or something to fight, or a crew of normal little imps to fight, so that you can just mop the floor with them and get a little confidence back.
And then
but having close fights is tense.
Yeah, having close fights is tense. I feel like as long as you sort of feel like you're there, right? Not necessarily just, hey, this thing pops out at you, it's going to be close. But if it's especially if it's like you've been waiting for this,
you have to create. I think about games that I like that have combat that I like, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the two games I love the most, Dota 2 and Hunt Showdown, what's so great about them? They're tense. Hunt honestly more than Dota, but so tense. You know that any moment anything could happen and you could die, right?
Yeah.
It's more tense in Hunt, actually, I'd say, because you don't get to come back. You're just dead. But in D&D, you almost have to build that into the encounter in a way that it's like, there is no other option the tenseness feels like when you're at the end of your rope, I don't have any other option. I cannot escape this. I have to fight this. And it's going to be hard.
Yeah.
If you feel like you have an escape, if you feel like nothing's going to happen, if you feel like there's no consequences ever, that can really erode tension and make fights less exciting.
All right.
Not
so
that
it
someone
sounds
has to
like-
die, but
Yeah. The threat of death has to be there.
the threat of death, the threat of knowing it is possible to die.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Yeah,
don't get me
so
wrong,
I mean-
it'd feel great to be a super boss who never loses, but you're not usually that.
it's really tough to sort of balance. It's okay. First off, it's just incredibly difficult to balance combat to be close without how do I want to word this? Without strategizing for the monster to do exactly what the party doesn't want it to do. Right? So like hitting the casters first and just wiping them out is a way for it to be close. But then it's like it can start to tip too far if you do it that way.
I think the way to balance an encounter realistically is to look at every character in your party, calculate their DPR, and adjust the monster's DPR to their health level. And his health needs to be enough to survive a round. You want it to be like, I think if it's a big fight, you want him to live quite a few rounds.
Yeah.
10 rounds plus. And you just give them a health level and an AC, and you determine what is their plus to hit, and then like what are the odds they're going to hit this AC. Make it hard but not unreasonable. And then on the health side, he needs enough health to be hit about enough time for 10 rounds at their average DPR, because they could be having a pop off night, and I mean there's always a variability in dice, but if you're having a pop off night and they're just like ba 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 crit, and they wipe him out in 5 rounds, so be it. But you want to shoot for the fight to be on the longer side when you're fighting a boss, on the shorter side, and that's how you balance a boss encounter, I guess. And then for smaller stuff, you'd have to divvy that up a little more. And then it also depends, I guess, on what you're trying to achieve narratively. But yeah, if we're talking about a close fight, that's how you get a close fight.
Yeah. So we kind of over some of the cool things about combat. What sucks about combat?
Monotony. Like I said at the top of it.
Whenever
So
it's just like, all right, I'm hitting.
All right, I hit. All right, I hit.
What are potential solutions for that?
It's getting the monsters to do other things. I mean, sometimes there's no way to avoid it, right? Like, if it is one creature or two creatures, and like my character can hold them down, there's nothing you can do about the fact that they can't move if you can't beat the DC to escape, right?
Yep.
But I think normally what you do is you have a good mix
for that monster.
Yeah, Misty Step. Yeah, so yeah. You give if you're gonna have a fight with smaller enemies, they need to have a variation of ranged and melee
and magic.
And not, they don't even always have to have magic, but yeah, magic too. That way that there is priority targets
between all three, because there's certain spells like that you want to fight, and I think everything.
Once you get to higher levels, you could do casters.
There's
yeah,
certain things it's like you want to use counterspell. You take counterspell, you want to use it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just have it so that every player on the board has a threat.
Yeah.
Because your casters can sometimes feel like, oh, I'm so far away that nothing's going to hurt me, so I'm all right. And I mean, like if you're Joe's character and you're 900 feet away, there's nothing you can do about that. But you say the fog is rolling in and you can't see the ground, and then you force them to come down. You know what I mean?
It's got Devil's Sight. What's up?
It's magical fog. The Devil's Sight can't see through.
The Devil's Sight specifically sees through magical stuff.
It's a special anti-devil fog.
It's an anti-devil sight fog mechanic.
It's a celestial fog. So.
Yeah, it's a celestial fog, so you can't see through it. It's got the light of God in it, which you can't see through.
What was I going to say? Oh, nope, I lost it again. The reactions. Attacks of opportunity are they can be frustrating, but I think they're balanced pretty well. Like the attacks of opportunity are bad because you can't it dissuades movement, but they're good because if you don't dissuade movement at all, then it just becomes I hit him and run away.
Yeah.
And then it's the same thing, only you're just moving with it.
So, like, here's the thing I'd say for monsters is monsters generally have quite a bit more health than players if they're just based on, a lot of factors. It seems that every monster has a ton of health. God damn it. And they can just take a hit. It won't hurt them to back out. Like, realistically, if they're getting laser beamed in the back every round for 30 damage from some ranged guy, he's not going to just keep taking 10 damage from the guy in front of him. He's going to push him away and go chase that other dude. He's like, God dang, I'm tired of getting freaking shot in the back over and over again.
Bolts in my butt. Just
yeah, dude.
Not good.
I don't like having toasty buns. And he turns around, he runs, and he just takes a hit, dude.
But if that caster's too far away, like it just becomes a kiting game.
Okay. Then the terrain that you're playing on needs to have breaks in sight.
Yeah. But you can use those against them too. It's very difficult. It's a whole lot of things that, because like a lot of D&D players make characters so that they can be the best help to their party they can, they become efficient, which means nobody's moving.
That's why you force them to move, though. You have to force people to move. You have to give the characters abilities that force people to move. Casters will move if someone's running at them.
Yeah, but then you also don't want to run into the problem like I was just talking about, where it's just everyone moves 30 feet and attack, because then it just becomes the same thing, but it becomes
but in motion.
Different.
But if that enemy's double moving, he's catching the wizard.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't catch the wizard's wasting his spells to get away. Not to hit.
Yeah, maybe. Potentially.
It's changing up the dynamic because now the martial characters are having to catch up and do something besides just go, I rolled a punch.
And that's another thing with adding, like, I think multiple enemies and having a variety of melee, ranged, and magic is a good thing, because then you have the defense for the enemies of, okay, the caster's way back there, we got him, we got range on him, we got whatever. And if you're the big bad needs to be big and bad. Get to him.
So do you think that anything needs to be changed about opportunity attacks? Or do you think that they're about where they need to be?
I think they're probably about where they need to be.
Yeah, probably about where they need to be. Or maybe I could see you roll normal dice, but you do half damage. Because it's a quick.
Yeah, because they're backing away.
Like if I'm stabbing you and you're already pulling back, I'm not going to get that all the way in.
Maybe it's just like a bonus action attack where you don't get your modifier, but you just get dice.
Yeah, you just get dice.
Oh yeah, okay, I can see that. I was about to say, not a bonus action. There's already too many bonus actions.
No, not taking a bonus action, but just using the same rules.
Yeah. I can see that.
Or you could do, they have disadvantage unless you have like Sentinel or something, like a feat, but that would be built into the feat.
Disadvantage on opportunity attacks.
Yeah, because it's like you're just not expecting them to run and bolt. You know what I mean? Like they just start taking off, and you're like, "Holy crap!"
Yeah,
it's a quick. You're not going to get your full force. It's quick. It's slow. Or
if they're fast enough, maybe make it a check. You can roll like a dexterity check, and if you can make it, you can take half damage on the reaction attack.
I think
If they're fast enough to
of
pull
these
away.
solutions so far, I think that just no modifier is the best. Because I don't want to devalue a reaction.
Yeah. There's other reactions to take.
There are, but
If
there's
you're a
not that many
caster.
of them.
But there's not that many of them, yes. The reaction has been neglected.
Yeah. Maybe
So
that's
rebarbs.
what it is. We just need more reactions.
I have said this before. There
I
needs to be
think-
more reactions in the game.
Not like having you get one reaction per turn, like as a just one action, one bonus action, one reaction,
Yeah.
but having more things to do with your reaction. I think.
Yeah. The reaction is neglected, dude.
I think
What
it'd
can
be
you do?
nice if you had you get your regular action, your bonus action, and you get a help action in your turn. That way you, like if you're melee, if you're the big barbarian, you can run up, hit him once, or bonus action rage, run up, hit him, and then you can take the help action and grab an arm or something and try and hold him open so your buddy can get +2 to hit.
I think that would make the fights a lot harder to balance. It could be really cool. But that would make the fights extremely hard to balance.
If it was
Yeah,
in
'cause
there,
you're-
they could figure it out. Because the enemies would be doing it too, right?
Yeah, I suppose if the enemies were doing it.
Well, it depends because I mean, while there are plenty of combats that have multiple enemies, there are combats that only have one enemy, where there is not combats that only have one party member, right?
But if you're
Yeah.
fighting the one enemy, that one enemy is either going to be a lot bigger than you, so you're not going to be able to grab a hold of them,
Unless you're
or they're
Bonnie.
going to be. He got huge. You can't. He was just the same size. Usually, they're either a lot bigger than you, or they have magical powers that have
That could prevent you.
legendary
Legendary
actions,
legendary actions.
reactions, and
Yeah.
you can add
The
to that as
legendary
like you can get out of that hold with a legendary reaction.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, it's tough. What are
pontificate.
What are some things you could do? What are some reactions you could add? That's what I'm trying to say.
On the spot? I don't know. I didn't think about
I
reaction.
think you could add a like if I'm the barbarian, and
You could add tripping.
maybe you could
For
add
martial
a reaction.
classes.
You could use your reaction to say the bad guy went after the mage. The barbarian catches up, but he's on the mage. Maybe you could hit with the barbarian, use your reaction to make it to where he can't use his reaction to hit your wizard, so the wizard could run away and still get a spell off.
I guess, yeah. And I guess that I think all the martial classes have at least a second option for reactions, right? Or maybe not all of them.
I don't think I have any other reaction.
Because like anything,
I have
any of the
stuff. I have
martial
Rune Knight
classes
stuff.
that have like defensive as their fighting style can use their reaction to like I don't remember if it's add AC or take half the damage or something of someone within 5 feet of them getting hit. So that's one thing. Rogues have a reaction of uncanny dodge.
I don't know if fighters have a reaction.
I
have a reaction.
You can take a feat to take the parry stance with your reaction.
Yeah. Okay. I'm trying to think of what would be.
We'd have to
like
look up a list of all the reactions.
Yeah. Trying to think if there would be like something that would just be a super
reaction
cool
interactions.
Reaction.
What are all the reaction interactions in Dota 2, dude? I mean, not Dota 2. D&D. Different show. God dang.
Maybe you could burn your reaction if an AoE spell comes to give you advantage on a deck save. Makes you a little quicker because you're using your reaction.
Fighters would never use that. But I guess the other class is using it. Because fighters get it already.
Ah, here we go. I found it.
Okay.
A
Give us some
complete.
reactions.
All right. Artificers can do Flash of Genius and Soul Artifice. Interrupts Artificer dying. Interrupts ability check or saving throw of Artificer or creature within 30 feet. That's Flash of Genius. I think those are subclass things because like my reaction stuff is subclass. I Battlesmiths can interrupt attack rolls of creatures within 5 feet of defender, not targeting the defender. That's the one you were thinking about earlier.
Okay.
I think drinking a potion would be a good reaction. You get hit once and you're about to die, and then you use your reaction to chug a potion real quick before you get hit again.
I think that would take too long
for a reaction.
Yeah.
If you had them on a belt, if you had like a specific belt made for reaction potion drinking, you know what I mean?
Reaction potion belts.
Reaction potion belts.
I have the belt of potion reaction.
I have the belt of quick drinking. No, you have one of those. You have a hat with 2 potions on it, and straws come down your mouth.
Oh, jeez.
I'm just kidding, but I think a belt that had like quickly accessible potions that could work. Where you just all you have to do is pull them out, pop the cork, and drink it. And maybe it's like a smaller one that doesn't give you as much of a heal because it's be able to use in a reaction.
Hey, all I'm saying is I play Dark Souls and I use them puppies real quick.
That's because you're the only one on the screen. Yeah, I'm about to say, even while I'm roll in the air, I drink them. Yeah, I remember in Diablo 2, I used to run around and drink like 30 potions a second sometimes, just like shotgunning them things. I'm getting punched by 30 zombies and I just pull a potion out, poke the bottom, and chug it. Are you looking at the list of reactions?
I'm looking up because I made that monk subclass, and I was trying to remember what, because I gave it different things for reactions, and I don't remember what I gave it.
Peace domain.
Yeah, when you take damage from so I think that you should be able to use a reaction to parry or block, and it takes some of that damage, like a D4 worth of damage, depending on what you're using to do it. A D4 is worth of damage away.
Okay,
similar to Stone's Endurance.
Yeah. I could see that.
Interesting.
Yeah. Make it to where you have to think about whether you want to do that or not. Waste your reaction on it. Just one more thing to think about. I think for the right... I feel like what we're doing is we're adding complexity to the game. And I understand why they don't do these things. Because like the complexity we're adding... Already we've added, like, how many layers have we added in this episode to combat, which is already a lot to handle for a lot of people who are newer to the game.
Yeah.
Like to us, it's awesome to homebrew this stuff in because we're all veteran players. But even a moderate level player isn't going to want to manage all their spells, manage all their attacks, manage all their features and traits, manage all their, feats, everything. And on top of that, they know that they can, I have an extra parry reaction, and I can roll this dice to get a half damage on this. Oh, and I can do this, and I can do this, and I can do that. And nobody would ever use any of it because it's too much.
Yeah.
It's cool for us to add them in slowly, and then over time we just learn to use them. But I can totally see why none of this is in the game.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it is the way it is.
We consider ourselves veterans, but we still miss a lot of rules.
Oh, yeah. All the time. I'm not acting like I know them all.
Yeah.
No way.
It's
half the time I still say stuff from D&D 3.5.
Go back and
Microsoft calls it diplomacy.
Yeah.
Give me a diplomacy check. I don't know what that is.
We don't even have that.
I don't know what that is, old man.
And I was like, what the heck is that? Looking at my
yeah, I'm like, persuasion?
Although I will say, I want to start a campaign to bring back use rope.
Use rope? Are you proficient in use rope?
Think about all the times you tie people up. Being able to roll to see if you're tying them up well.
Yeah. Absolutely. I like
because
that.
There's a lot of situations where your players just say, I tie him up so tight he can't escape. And then you're like, well, fuck, what do I do? He's got a magic.
He's real tight. He's real tight.
He's got one of those James Bond laser pointers that cuts the rope. Anyways. Man, we got off topic right there. What were we talking about just a minute ago?
Reactions?
Reactions. Yes, the complexity of the game.
Yeah.
I think it's I think also something you could do to get a little inspiration for D&D 5e combat is look at combat of other systems. And if you like things from those, you pull them over. That's a great thing. Like we can do whatever we want. And we're just like a bed for ideas right here. But we just actually got to implement them and try them. And we also can't be afraid of
D&D is
we can't be afraid of we just change the rules. But we can't be afraid of like if we implement something and it's not working out, just like pull that out and try something else. I don't mind that.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Trying different stuff.
Being able to insert,
making the game kind of our own.
Making the game a little fresher. That you know what would increase fun in all areas? Making the game a little more fresh. I would say my main complaint with combat in 5e is that I've been doing it for so goddamn long.
Yeah, I'm trying to think like the best combats are the ones where your character gets to feel like he did something special.
Yes. But you can't always have that for everyone.
Yeah, that can't happen every time, and that's fine. Because if they did, then it wouldn't.
Those events, unless I mean, like they're largely, I don't know, they're not largely. They can be largely random.
Yeah,
but you can plan. You can plan for it a little bit, but it is largely random. I was going back and forth, but
I've tuned encounters where like, okay, I'm going to do this, and then I know this guy has this thing, so he'll get to use his thing, and then sometimes it goes through and they don't use the thing, and I'm like, okay, just didn't use it. All right,
just didn't use it. They didn't think about it, or they didn't see the connection.
Yeah,
that's why it's so random. You can plan for it a little bit, but how do you know when someone's going to do something freaking sick?
Yeah,
someone might just be on one tonight, and they're rolling really good, and they're like, "And I do this," and they roll it, and they're like, "You're like, shit, that worked." No! Why did they roll that 20 right there?
Yeah, that was like the dragon fight where you caught it out of the air.
Oh yeah, you caught it midair and wrestled it to the ground.
Yeah, I thought that you would run at it and like maybe be able to wrestle it down. I did not anticipate catching it mid flyby.
That was epic, though. That was
flipping it over and slamming it. I want to see that animated, but we don't have that Critical Role budget. Yeah, we don't have a fan base for that. But I'm not an animator.
Draw it.
Draw
a picture of your guy going.
Just draw like, and then draw that picture 16 times so it looks like it's moving.
Yeah, just you can do 1 frame per second.
1 frame per second. It's a stop motion thing. Like you're flipping the pages on a comic book really fast.
It would be really slow. 1 frame per second.
Oh, I guess you're right. Yeah. Turn. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Took 10 minutes to grab that thing.
How do you guys feel about the way combats have been going in our Monday campaign?
Most of the time, they're fine.
Oh yeah.
Well, that ended more abruptly than I thought it was going to.
I don't have a lot of complaints. The fights are varied enough, and we all feel really well.
You shouldn't have complaints, Eric. Your character is the one who kills literally everything.
Actually, look back. Very rarely do I get the killing blow. I whittle it down a lot. Yeah. I'm there to make you feel better about your character by beating it to an absolute pulp and then letting you kick it.
So how do you feel about the sort of division of labor, I guess, amongst the party you have?
I could see, honestly, truthfully, in your Monday campaign, I could see how somebody might resent my character for how much I can do in a fight. My character is so strong, and that's why I love it. I didn't even try to make that one broken.
I do the thing, and I'm like, you have that, and you're like, I do. God damn it!
That's
Well, like-
Vonic's the reason why I went the route of I'm never gonna get touched ever. I'm just gonna.
I don't have to be
I'm
there.
just gonna be
I mean,
a mile away,
ultimately-
being like.
Well, ultimately, that plays perfectly into the relationship that you guys had.
Yeah,
Like he was supposed to be your bodyguard, so it works out
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
beautifully.
it works out well. Yeah. I
Okay,
didn't,
well then contrast that to the division of labor on Thursday night campaign.
I think that Thursday night's party is leaning itself is just naturally a little more balanced out
In what
as
way?
far as like damage output. Nobody in our group is like, you do quite a bit of damage, but also you play in a way that moves you around and keeps you out of the fight a lot. So I don't think about you until you attack. Usually,
it's super fun.
Yeah,
I get to move
But-
during combat. It's great.
but like I think damage output wise, everyone in the group's a little more balanced, and so it's a little more hello, comrade. You know, we're the communist group when it comes to fighting.
I wish there was more buffs from casters. I wish I could
There's-
spend my turn doing more.
I have buffs, I just don't take them. I'm a druid, and
There's quite a few. We're just not really to the level yet where it's efficient to use them because there's like
That's
there's
another
haste,
thing, yeah.
there's enlarge reduce, there's holy weapon, there's
But like a lot of the time, it doesn't feel worth it.
unhindered movement one. I don't remember the name of it.
Yeah, I don't know what to remember.
But a lot of those are like currently our top level spell slots. It's like I don't
Holy-
want to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have one fourth level spell. Do I want to
Yeah.
make my friend slightly larger so he can do an extra D4, or do I want to cast a thunderstorm that I can make someone eat lightning every turn?
Yeah.
But that's the player. That's me. I'm sure you know what Isaac might make you bigger so you can hit harder.
I had a really good time buffing Shiro when he fought the bear.
Oh, that was sick.
Yeah, that was a sick fight too.
That
But
was
see,
so
the
fun.
awesome thing about that fight is we worked up to it. We knew we had to do it, and we weren't getting out of it. We had to win that thing. The thing was hard to fight, and we knew it was a one-on-one, and we were in the stands, and it was tense, and we were sneaking little spells to try to help him out. So that was a well-constructed fight. It
And
had
that
a
was a
story
good
that led
plan
up to it.
from everyone. Like everybody had to be there,
Yeah.
except for Bones, who I had to beat him down too because I was like, he's not on my team.
Poor David. He was just like, I just want to belong. But we were like, not like that.
Not like that. Not this time. Please just stop. We're barely winning.
I
I
had
don't-
1 health after that.
I was pumping you full of temporary hit points like every round too. Just
Yeah.
like boom. And then they'd all be gone in one round.
Yeah.
That's an awesome tense fight. The fight in the book where we were fighting the gods.
Yeah.
Awesome tense fight because we didn't know if we were going to be the last fight in it. Tense fight because it came down to the wire.
I will say that's what makes melee fun. Whenever they're like Eric Svanik and my Shiro, they're really freaking OP. Like
They
you
do
get a
feel
couple of
super
things
strong.
and you're like, okay, I'm really strong now.
Yeah, I'm
That's
super
whenever
strong.
that's whenever melee classes get to be fun.
You can
but-
take the hits.
You only get one of those in a party, and I think that's how it should be.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. I had and speaking of like buffing your allies, that last fight we did, that's pretty much all Victor was doing was like throwing out buffs because I wasn't hitting anything. I kept I don't remember the name of the spell right now, but it's the thing where if something attacks me, it has to make a wisdom save first.
Yeah. Mhm.
So I was keeping that on myself so I wouldn't get hit, and I was like buffing Shiro and like throwing out heals and stuff.
Yeah.
That was a really fun fight.
that's the fun part. That's why I love playing Saren because I just want more buffs to do. We're not at a point where I have a ton and I
Yeah.
don't have a ton of spells, and
Yeah.
I'm like, I have to save it to heal.
Yeah.
I
Gotta
don't know
heal.
when we're gonna get another long
especially
rest.
because every fight in that campaign we're like getting pulverized every time. We're like, I get hit twice and I'm like, it would be nice to have more fights where we're just like you get more fights in a day, like you're moving along but you're fighting couple goblins, and then you do something, then you fight a couple more. And
I think
it's
if you
like,
had,
we're
I
beating
think
them
if you
down.
had a,
It's like you get worn down over the day. It doesn't always have to be like one fight where 7 lizardmen come out
well, it was
and
the,
stab you 17 times in one round.
it's the portal hopping one. That was the worn out
See,
over the course of a.
that was amazing. That was so intense for like 5 sessions in a
Yeah,
row
yeah.
because it was
We
like
were
we
going.
don't have the ability to get a rest in. We have to
Yeah.
keep moving. But every fight didn't beat us down completely. Like we were
No,
like it's slowly, and then we got to the last fight where it was like we're done. So we
Yeah,
had
we
to
got
make a
nothing
deal
left.
with the devil.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
And
That was epic.
that's like a cool tense fight that took course over a short period of time in game relatively, but like 5 sessions of just constant going. That felt super awesome.
I was going to say something, but I forgot what it was.
I think a dungeon crawl can be made interesting. You just have to have the narrative device to make it interesting. The narrative device that made it interesting in that is if we didn't close the portal within an hour of showing up, we were going to go somewhere else and we had to start over. So it made you like, I am going. And the person's like, hey, how's your day? Screw you. I'm doing something right now. And you're only like, everything it's
goal
minimal.
oriented in those moments.
Yeah.
Like it was just focused in.
Fights
was
that force
intense.
you. Yeah, it was a fight that forced us to do something. We're looping back around to the beginning. It was forcing us to make decisions that we wouldn't normally make. Because when you get in the time when combat and the game in general can slog is when everyone's going, we could do this, but no one wants to say, why don't we just do that one? And then you say, like, just pick one and go.
Yeah, and part of that I think is like the people who are
You're
into
thinking
it
too.
start to feel like they're taking over. And the people who are just sort of along for the ride, they're like the people who are doing a lot of the RP generally.
Yeah.
They're like, all right, let's do the thing. And then they start to be like, man, I've been making every decision. And they're like, let's let someone else make a decision. What do you guys think we should do? And then everyone sits there.
Nope. No. Here's the thing. If you've been making all the decisions lately and everyone's having a good time, just keep doing that, boss. You're on top. And if someone says, I would rather do this, you give it up.
That's whenever they need to speak up. They're not, then
yeah, if no one's speaking up, and you're the only one making decisions, you're the decision guy. Also, I wish people I like we are adventurers in a fantastical world. Sometimes the only excuse you need to go do something is that it's an adventure.
Yeah, Mr. Moneybags. How do I get money so I can retire?
Hey, I do want money. I do want a reward. But picking what you're going to do, just pick one of them. You're on an adventure. Outside of your character, even. Like, oh, that's a thing that we could do.
I'm talking about the Thursday night encounters. I 100% thought, oh, this is a little side quest. We're just going to go like wipe out some goblins. Maybe one or two of us is going to be at half health afterwards. It'll be just a little thing. We got there and got just wrecked.
That's what I'm saying, man. Like it was like, okay, it's a side mission. It's just gonna be easy. It'll get our confidence back up. No, we all died.
And then I showed up and
all died.
Cleaned them up.
Okay, that was a TPK. That was a.
I mean, I was making it out of there. I don't know about the rest of
you. Everybody that went down should be dead. We got saved.
I got that extra special pass without trace, and I was like, no one's ever gonna find me if I just take off.
Listen, guys, it was no problem. I got that fight hyped up for weeks, and I just showed up and took care of it.
You keep saying that, and your Earth Elemental. If any one of us had taken those hits, they would have been dead.
Who cast that spell? It was me. Golden Sunny Cheeks.
Like it was so easy. It wasn't easy. You just had the right spell.
That's what made it easy, guys. If I'd have been there the whole
Here's
time,
the
it wouldn't have
thing.
been a hard
It was
fight.
a surprise for us. You got to know, okay,
Yeah.
these things are gonna screw us up. If we walked into that and that Jaguar jumped on you first, you would have been down to it.
I'd stay back, dude. I'm like, I'm not having any part of
You
that.
would have saw that thing and you'd been like, okay, we can handle this, and then the thing goes, you're dead. That's what
You would have died
It
first.
jumped on me one time and I died. It hit me in one round and killed me.
Yeah,
that's
I know.
another thing.
But you can think that something's going to be balanced, and then it's not.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That's another thing about balancing fights is whenever there's a disparity between your strongest character and your weakest character, it can make fights more difficult to balance. For instance,
I'm gonna before you say what you're gonna say, I do think that in Thursday's campaign we are a pretty balanced group, and that in your campaign I am a little strong. I will admit.
you say that, but in Monday's campaign, we have one guy that's like pretty far and above like the rest as far in power level. In Thursday's campaign, we have a guy that's pretty far below everybody else.
But not anymore.
Well, we still got to get it set up, but yeah. And I feel like it's difficult to balance encounters around that. Because everyone else is like, Zarik is hard to hit.
Yeah. But if someone
Frog is not at all.
But that was just like it's just a matter of rebalancing. Because like I milled about redoing his character for a while.
Yeah.
And I went ahead and did it. I had fun because I like to do that anyways. But I sent him a message today after and I was like, hey man, I didn't mean to like push that on you. And I was telling him, I was like, if you don't want to use it, it's fine kind of thing. And he's like, nope, it was perfect. That's exactly what I should have done in the first place. And I'm like, yes. You know what I mean? Because like, now he's going to enjoy playing the character more because it's powerful enough to keep up with everyone else's character.
Yeah, for sure.
If you have a player who goes, here's my character, and the DM looks at it and they go, you need to think, wow, this character is not balanced at all. And you need to reassure them, hey, you could change a couple things and be a lot more powerful. Do you want to be this weak? If you do, that's fine. That's your character. You want to do that. But I don't think his intention was ever to be that weak. You know what I mean? His intention was to have a powerful character who's like a big buff dude who punches people to death. Okay. His intention was not to be a guy with 10 AC who could be wiped out by a stiff breeze, even though he's 8 foot tall.
He swings really hard. He just goes,
yeah. He thinks about it. He's like, this looks sick in slow-mo. It comes across the slow fist.
What an epic character that would be. Everything is like, they swing that slow, but it's a big impact.
Yeah, like once
it takes one round wind up.
Yeah. 1 round wind up. Once it hits, it does double damage, but you gotta like get it there. He's cursed.
The first round is just you slowly saying Kamehameha, and the second round is the attack.
Yeah. Anyways, I don't think I think that honestly, that's great. And that if also another thing you could do, like in your campaign where I am absolutely the most powerful character, you could just give everyone else like an item or something that makes them on par with me.
Yeah, and I feel like once everyone,
but that really depends. If everyone's happy where they are, then
you have no
totally
idea
works
how
out just
bad. I
fine.
just want to walk up behind you and go, remove curse.
Honestly, I'm really strong even without the werewolf.
I know.
Stuff.
I just think it'd be hilarious. You wake up one day and you're like, I'm ready to get.
I swear this never happens.
What's going on?
Yeah, I'm scared to like buff everyone else because, especially casters, once they hit these power spikes, they're gonna be on par with you.
Yeah, I know.
So it's just a matter of waiting for
Just
that.
let
to
it ride
happen.
out. Just let it ride out.
That's good for the story. It makes the other characters want to develop so they can keep up.
Yep.
Yeah. You can have cool moments. Like I said, casters can always have awesome moments. Takes work to have an awesome moment with a martial character.
Yeah. But there you go. Combat.
Also, yeah, combat. Also, it takes me like 5 rounds of bonus actions to get all that stuff set up.
Yep. It does.
All right. Well, that was pretty good, boys. We covered the gamut of all different kinds of combat. Big combat, small combat, easy combat, hard combat.
Mortal
All the combat you can
combat.
take. Mortal combat. All right, boys. That was good. We will convene again in 2 weeks, hopefully, this time.
Alrighty.
We all committed to that?
Oh yeah.
Sure.
Fantastic.
Feel
all
like we
right.
should spread out these subclass ones, though. We haven't done a subclass in a while.
We could do a subclass next time.
Breakdown.
I think on the we'll talk about it after this recording. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Bye.
Fuck out of here, Craig.